This is Dr. Harish Tripathi. I'm architect, principal architect of Architect Harish Tripathi and Associates, Arhata, New Delhi, and I am part of Triple ID, DRC. Today we welcome Professor Anand Khatri, who is heading UVCT. And today we'll discuss with him about UVCT and urban villages and what kind of work they are doing and what are various issues pertaining to this subject matter. As not many people are talking about this. So, Professor Khatri, what is your take on entire subject? And how do you see entire subject?
Thank you, Dr. Harish, for inviting me here for this discussion. And I must tell you that, like you, I am also an architect. I started my journey in architecture trying to sensitize myself in heritage, in our heritage, how our heritage is developing, how through architectural conservation from SP Delhi, and then on, I was in practice. But while in practice, I had been very closely working and observing the common people who come and do our work, the common people who come and do our buildings. In between, I had this opportunity of working for Tata Chemicals on one of the biggest rural retail projects, in India. And that is when I got to see over 600 villages in the country. It was during this journey that I realized that it was not more about books. It was about this journey that I realized that there is so much that is being done in the cities through villages, which we do not realize. Our architecture, our development, everything is happening through this. So 10 years ago, I along with 15 other founder members from across the globe, we came together to put the agenda of urban villages and villages of our country in one frame, and that is when UVCT was formulated. When we started this activity, we started researching, finding people to talk about architecture and planning on urban villages, and we could not reach to anybody of substance or any person who could emphatically talk on what is to be done. Like you, like me, we are all products of organized education system. Education organizes, information equips us, and we become capable of handling things. So that is when we realize that our first journey has to be through development of information and through educating. Today, after so many years of work, after writing many policies, we had written an international policy on urban villages in 2022, Indonesian presidency of G20, and we had written the communique for urban villages in 2023 in the Indian presidency, and a few books and conferences. We have come to a stage where we are now having some amount of material. We have consultants who are equipped to handle different levels of activity, be it urban economics, be it accessibility, be it poverty, be it children, be it social issues, and other pertaining issues to urban villages. So the journey has been fairly long, but we are now coming to a point where we are aching for action. And as a future agenda, we are looking forward for developing a central authority, which we wish to call as UVDA, central authority which is equipped to handle the problems of urban villages in our country.
So, I'll...
Sure.
I mean, let us first discuss and maybe I would like to know, let people know, what are the basic and main issues pertaining to the urban villages as in Delhi or anywhere.
Yeah.
you have those villages,
Right.
and they are, I mean, I can say that they are major part of the city, and
Right.
many people are residing, and they can be considered, if we get into detail, they can be considered as backbone for any city.
Yeah.
So, but what is the status as of now? What is the status of those urban villages, and what problems they are facing? What are basic issues with them? Who are the people who are residing there? So that entire dynamics from, I mean, not only from infra level, but people. Who are the people? So,
Right. See, I think it was yesterday that we were talking about stakeholders in a city. You had been working on the philosophy, and we realized that the base of all development, the first stakeholder in a democracy and in India are the people. So after our freedom, and as we started urbanizing, we started following the Western model of urbanization. Somewhere down the line, there was a possibility of having a poly-centered urbanization and not a city agglomeration kind of urbanization. But we got into understanding urbanization through Corbusier. We got into developing New Delhi through the Delhi Development Authority, and we started centralizing our development. City is an economic engine. City is functioning only on economics, whether it is architecture, products, development, jobs, industry, innovation, education, or whatever be it. City is only putting into churn all the possible economies which are connected to the global economy. So city is only connecting us to a global foray, and that is what city is made of. Wide roads, high speed vehicles, possibilities to travel, to cover distances, and then intermediate destinations. So if we see carefully, urban villages are largely villages. They are villages which have come into the heart of the development of these cities, and cities have developed only on their agricultural fields. You had very correctly said that the city is dependent on urban villages. Now, whether it be the household workers, whether it be the convenient markets, whether it be our drivers, workforce, carpenters, painters in Delhi or in any metropolitan city, that is the only place where they get to live, or which is affordable for their cost or their salaries or the portions of purchases that they want. So if we look at urban villages in Delhi, they are equally distributed. When you see the plan of Delhi, you will realize that they are equally distributed across the city of Delhi. So when Delhi started happening, and even when Noida started happening, and even when Gurgaon started happening, Noida became successful and Delhi became successful because they had very prosperous sectors with intermediate urban villages which were catering to everything that the sectors were needing. I'll give you one example. The primary, provision of building materials for repairs, the welder shops, the carpentry stores, the stores for supplies of paints, where are they located? They are all located in urban villages. You look at possibility of restaurants, you look at kitchens, you look at places where people who are educating or people who are getting educated, students are living. Places which are supporting the infrastructure of bigger institutions like IIT Delhi, Zia Sarai, Bir Sarai, Kalu Sarai, and all these areas, they are all urban villages. You look at Ashoka in Sonipat, there is this Rai village next to it that makes so many institutions successful. Similarly, these sarais. So, be it institutions, be it high-end residential areas like South X and GK and Chitranjan Park, and be it any of the areas in Delhi, urban villages have become a necessity for their functioning. They are the spine. These areas cannot exist. So now the existential question is in between us that if we want to live in these areas, then we have to have urban villages. I must tell you that a couple of years ago, when I was struggling with an urban village next to my house, this was about 15-20 years ago, I really wanted to, throw away all the residents from that village, make it flat, make it plain, and bring up a new cleaned sector there. Because that is the way I was trained to think. It was only when I started thinking people, when I started thinking about how to have not the dirt of an urban village come into my sector, but the health of my sector, the thinking of the positive thinking in the planned development get into urban villages, that I realized that there is a way. And that way is that of a great handshake. The way is that of understanding how these people are living and catering to them. We are trying at several levels to come up with small solutions for urban villages. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, there was an arts project in this area near the Asian Games village, in a village. So all that they could do was come up with a lot of artists who painted certain squares, certain chalks, and that became an urban village project. Right? There are essentially all urban villages had ecologies connected to it. That is, they had ponds. Now, you will agree, Dr. Harish, you know so much about geography here of this region. You would agree that the soil of Delhi, the soil of Noida, the soil of this whole region up to Bharatpur is such that small little lakes and ponds are formed, right? And that is why we have so many migratory birds. The reason for a rich bird life in Delhi is only because of these water bodies where small insects grow and birds come and feed on them. They nest next to them, and then they procreate and fly away. So we have been enjoying not just scenic beauty, not just ecology, not just workforce, but also beauty from migratory birds, and such creatures who come and visit our zones, because we are ecologically rich. And across all urban villages, these ponds have been encroached and converted into some or the other uses, whether they be warehouses. Almost all of Bharat Ghars, which are the big Bharat Ghars in Delhi, whether it be Haryana, whether it be Noida, are all constructed on all these ponds, which have been progressively encroached. As a result of it, what happens is that we have urban flooding, which we struggle. We have discussed this agenda at so many other platforms, me and you, and we have realized that it doesn't work because urban flooding does not have an output. I would like to take the dialogue further into what we have been doing with the Ministry of Panchayati Raj on a village.
Acha, before you start that, I would like to understand, to our viewers, now what is the framework? Earlier, obviously, they were pure villages. So there was total ownership of development, ownership of entire thing. Now pradhans are not there. So, and normal feeling which I have, if suppose there is a village in Noida Authority with Noida zone, so if Noida Authority is doing something, so they are boasting as if they are doing some kind of favor to those people. Noida Authority did this much of development in this village, that village. So, overall legal or ownership framework, what is the status now? And what do you see beyond this?
That's a very, very valid question, because I think you are arriving at the root cause of all that is creating a problem. And I must share my findings with you. So, Dr. Harish, what happens is that when the village comprises of two parts, one is the area where people are living, and then the area around where agriculture is happening. The interest of the development authority is in purchasing the agricultural area. That is, they have the juice and pulp of the fruit, leaving the core of the fruit unutilized. As a result, this core of the fruit is left. Generally, it is surrounded by a Lal Dora area, as in the case of Delhi. And these Lal Doras are given either a road or the backdrops of buildings. So what happens is that these core areas of villages whose agricultural lands have been taken for development purposes, whether it be Delhi, whether it be Noida, and now I think I must tell you that the numbers in between Delhi to Agra on villages which have been notified in such a way and have been historically notified also has gone beyond 5,000. Which, if we go by the average, of a population of 2,000, so it is 2,000 multiplied by 5,000, which is a very, very huge number of people which are getting impacted. Now, how does this happen? The development authority takes this land, plots it, develops it and sells it. But when any development authority is wanting to work in these villages, then they cannot, because they don't have ownerships of these villages. So Noida authority, if they say that they have done something good in urban villages and they are making a big claim, they are right. Because they are doing it in somebody else's land. Urban villages are people's land. Both me and you come from villages, right?
No, but who has the ownership?
People have the ownership. So you must understand that in your village and in my village from where we all came and our families belong to, the road belongs to people living adjoining the road. They give their share of land 5 feet to create a 10 feet wide road, right? The road in Noida belongs to Noida authority and the plots belong to people on a 99 years lease, right? It's a leasehold property. Here all properties are freehold properties. So the status of land ownerships is very different. And whether it be the Pradhan or whether it be the Ministry.
But Pradhan is no more.
Pradhan is no more, so there is no caretaker. There is no caretakers, but it becomes obligatory on the part of the development authority to do something within these areas without having the mandate to do it.
So that is CSR kind of work for authorities there, you see.
Yes, because they don't own it. They don't own it.
Then what is the role of and I mean state is state not thinking something about these villages, or I mean consolidated
Yes, there has to be a consolidated approach. Like I said earlier, there has to be a central thinking cell under MOHUA, Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, something which is called UVDA, Urban Village Development Authority. I'm using the word development authority because that is a norm of development. It could be some other name. And that central cell has to have its presence in all development authorities, telling them how to work on these urban villages. India is aching for good examples. We need to show the world good examples of the way we have been handling these situations. And these situations, we call them urban villages here. There are, all levels of names which are present. Goathans is what they call it in Pune, Bombay. In South, they are known as different names. Somewhere, development authorities call them slums. Like I'll tell you, till 1970s and all, Shahjahanabad was called a slum. Now Shahjahanabad is a historic area. You look at Delhi. All historicity of Delhi is nowhere else but in their urban villages or connected to urban villages. Whether it is the Nizamuddin Basti, Qutub Minar near Mehrauli, whether it is Lal Killa in Shahjahanabad, the area around it has been cleared, we all know that. Whether it be Khidki village, whether it be Tughlakabad fort, any tomb, any historic monument in Delhi is surrounded by urbanization of that era where people have been living. Also, Dr. Harish, the problem that happens is that whenever a building becomes Qutub Minar, we recognize it as heritage.
Hmm.
But we have never recognized the way people were living. If you give me 5 more minutes, I will explain the problem. All that I wanted to tell you was that the kind of houses that we make, right? Our house plot has got a front setback, a side setback, a rear setback, and so have the adjoining plots got. Where did we find this typology? This is actually more or less a bungalow typology fitted into all possible sizes of plots. Now, why do your urban villages or our urban villages not become cities ever? Why will they never become cities is because all these urban villages have been built in unique typologies which are indigenous to our living. Like a carpenter has a carpenter's house, a farmer has got a gher, and so on and so forth. So any of these typologies do not become urban typologies primarily because there is no continuity into their acceptance. There is no acceptance of these typologies into the urban format, as a result of which to do something which is akin to our policies, akin to our guidelines, akin to the acceptable formats of fire and structural strength and so on and so forth, we have to erase the previous layer completely. And that is where we are getting stuck. That is why architectural services are not moving deeper into urban villages, because neither have we been equipped to handle their problems, and nor can we, as an output of our work, get it into the mainstream economics. What is happening there is left there. And only the developer kind of people, the contractors, are able to do something there. Neither is the informal economy a part of mainstream economy and GDP, nor is that whole building area a part of our built masses. So they lie unrecognized. The whole of Southeast Asia, excluding China, including India, is benefiting from informal economy. More than 60% economy is informal. As a result of which, the GDP of these countries is not reflected properly. And we don't know how to benefit from these informal economies. Right? So, as a result of which, what is happening is that neither are we projected to the world definition properly, nor do we entertain these areas as real and as beneficial.
Acha, I mean, UVCT, what is your plans, UVCT's plans, and what kind of intervention at policy level or at ground level you think
Yes,
you can?
it's a very
think of?
pertinent question. The first responsibility that we undertook, which we have more or less, developed better, is to develop reading material and make people understand that there is a space within architecture and planning for understanding and practicing work on urban villages. Now, what we really want to do is we want a few villages to us which the government can support development on, and the proposals for these villages have to be case-based proposals. It cannot be a universal guideline. It cannot be a proposal which is applied to all. It's not a ready-made garment. It has to be tailored, designed for villages, wherein we are able to work on people, to recognize their economics, to get their economies as a part of our mainstream economics, work on their house forms, make, like we have a national building code, we must have a national building code for urban villages, where acceptability is different. Like we have acceptability on materials, structural materials, there has to be a definite way of approaching temporality and impermanent materials within that mainframe of understanding, and we have to give them recognition so that they become a part of our economics, so that banks can give loans there, and people can benefit from the national services. I asked a fire officer, what is going to happen to an urban village if there is fire? They did not have any answer. Our services, our health, you know, our health, even in times of COVID, there was so much difficulty. There were so many of us who were going and distributing food in urban villages and otherwise in all these areas. But especially in those times, we found that they had a way of sustenance. They were more resilient. In COVID times, as a part of my research on Kalonda for Ministry of Panchayati Raj, I was continuously going to Kalonda for doing research along with my faculty. Nobody in the village was wearing a mask. They were healthy. There were no deaths because of COVID, whereas the cities were so badly impacted. So there is some truth there. Cities need them, and that is what has to be recognized.
Acha, something came to my mind. How do you see some kind of success of Shahpur Jat village?
Yes, yes.
And then in Noida, I have seen 104, this at sector 104.
Yes, yes, there is a village there, right.
That village. So, I mean, they have reached up to a different dynamics. I mean, so much of diversity.
Very, very
so
different
much
dynamics. You are right.
So, how do you see that? And do other villages have this kind of potential, or I mean, can it be garnered in some way which benefits everybody? Because a lot of times people of New Friends Colony may find that Bharatnagar is, that is a chaos for them.
Right, right, right. So you have a point, you know. You look at Hoskas. People go to party. You talked about Shahpur Jat, where all the designers and such outfits are there. There is so much truth that urban villages have come to a point of giving custom solutions to the nearby areas. Amity is based, all the students of Amity are living in one urban village which is just behind it.
Okay.
I'm forgetting the name,
Okay.
you know.
Okay.
Similarly, the whole of sector 18 is born out of Atta Pir Chowk, Atta Market, you know,
Market.
which is the Atta village, right? So, what I'm trying to say is that major economies, and even if it was not just for Atta village, then it is sector 18, and then there is a riverfront development, which is a slum, which is again a slum. So, on one side is the people who are living in Atta village, on the other side people are living in these squatter settlements, and these two are supporting the Atta market and making it viable for us to go and enjoy and purchase and so on and so forth. So there is a truth there, and we must find a way. We must understand that urban villages specialize in solutions, and as you said, they have to be garnered. They have to be nurtured, garnered and protected.
And some kind of dignity,
Yes.
that is
Yes,
really
Harish.
important.
That is required.
That is, otherwise,
People
you
must
lo-
have dignified lives there. You know, we are not focusing on people there. You have put it so well. And I must also just add one more word to it, that yes, we as city people, as urban dwellers, are dependent on urban villages and villages. People here must respect people there. And out of this respect must be born a better mutual exchange.
True.
More than the government, people can make a difference. Individuals can make a difference. And that is where success lies.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you.
Thank you so
very
much.
much. And my best wishes for UVCT. And as Triple ID, whatever support you need from us, we are always there.
Thank you.
And most welcome. Most welcome.
Thank you. In fact,